Good morning, guys. In this session, you are going to finishing the classification part of the hormones. That is the third criteria. First two criteria we have seen in the last two sessions. That are, first one is compositional classification of hormones. Second one is hormones classification according to solubility. Today is the last pattern of hormonal classification. That is according to one hormone action with its opponent, other hormone action. So properly it is depends upon the hormonal actions. Let us see. According to the hormonal actions, here we cannot consider its makeup or its nothing but about solubility. According to hormonal actions, hormones are two types. First one, synergistic hormones. Synergistic hormones. Second one, antagonistic hormones. Antagonistic hormones. Basic concepts, time I told you. Synergetic concepts, synergetic hormones means hormonal action is together, work for one function, whereas antagonistic hormones are opponent. So they are equal, they are absolutely contrast. If you see a kind of explanation for better understanding, a hormone A is there, hormone B is there, and hormone C is there, and D is there. This hormone functions all together for an X function. For doing a particular function, hormone A, B, C and D, all these four are involved. Without any of the four, this X function cannot be done. In that case, all these four hormones are considered as synergistic hormones. Don't confuse. In synergistic hormones, one hormone function is equal to another hormone. No, all hormones in a particular group are meant for one function, a complete function. That is a complete function. Function of each hormone in a particular event is maybe same or different, but all together doing this work. Clear? On the other hand, antagonistic hormones are there. Here hormone A and hormone B is there. If a hormone helps in the production, synthesis, and the particular hormone is against to its production, means it decreases its production. So it inhibits, it promotes. Okay, A promotes and B inhibits. Inhibits means what? It stops. So that we can call antagonistic. Means one action, one hormonal action can be stopped or inhibited by any other hormonal action. Then that set of hormones is called antagonistic hormones. This is a basic vision. If you observe some examples for this case as well as this case, you will learn a complete classification of hormones. So without let me start. Synergistic hormones, properties with suitable examples. Let me tell you about synergistic hormones. Case 1, the hormones like growth hormone, it is also called somatotrophic hormone. Somatotrophic hormone. Growth hormone considered as GH, growth hormone. Somatotrophic hormone is called STH. Both are same, names are different. And this is a first hormone, that you just think this is A, hormone A. And hormone B is thyroxine. This is also called T3 and T4. Their forms. T3 is active form, remember. And another set of hormone in this list is insulin. Guys, as of your knowledge goes, what is the gland where growth hormone is coming from? Pituitary, right? So it is from pituitary gland. Thyroxine is coming from thyroid gland, right? Insulin is coming from beta cells of the pancreas. Pancreas means islets of Langerhanses. All these three hormones are not coming from same source, but all these three hormones destination function is same. What is that? That's obviously growth of tissue or organ. How does all these three have a similarity in the property of growth of an organism? Suppose the somatotrophic hormone helps in the bone elongation. Bone elongation. When bone is elongated in the both the direction, don't think bone is growing only in one direction. Bone growth happens in the both the directions. So bone growth is bidirectional. Which hormone helps in the elongation of bone? Answer is growth hormone. That is why it is called growth hormone. Apart from the bone, skeletal tissue, muscular tissue also being growing because of the somatotrophic hormone. Somato means body. Trophic means activating. So hormone which activates body growth. No part is exception for it, but majorly it helps in the elongation of bone. When bone is growing, ultimately body is growing. Property 1. Thyroxine. Thyroxine is coming from thyroid gland. This hormone helps in the metabolism. Metabolism. What is metabolism? We used to eat the food. In that so many nutrients will be there. Nutrients supplemented to all the tissues properly can be done by thyroid gland. Nothing but thyroxine hormone. If thyroxine hormone is not there, energy will not be distributed to different body parts equally according to the demand of the tissue. That is why thyroxine is a very important metabolic hormone. That is the reason sometimes due to the absence of thyroxine, growth of the baby or development of the baby inside the pregnant woman or outside the months baby which is growing towards the infant stage, infants to child to adult stage will be retarded. Mentally also retarded. So physical growth and mental growth depends upon a hormone called thyroxine. Whatever it is called growth. It is a bone growth, it is organs growth, physiological growth. Lastly, insulin. Insulin which helps to release the insulin which helps to pick up the excess glucose molecules from the blood and store it in the liver as a glycogen. If it is not there, glucose percentage will be increased in the blood. So it also indirectly helping the metabolic properties. All these three are from three different sources, but all these three function is growth. That is why they are called synergistic hormones. What is the property of synergistic hormones? Hormones may be different in their nature. Maybe they are made up of, all they are not made up of proteins. See here, growth hormone is a peptide hormone, thyroxine is a amino acid derivative, insulin is a protein hormone. All these three are not compositionally same. All these three are not even solubility is same, but here in this criteria all these three have the same place under the same umbrella because they meant for one function. That's why they are called synergistic. For synergistic, it is one of the example. Another example, let me explain you. The second case, an instance for synergistic hormones apart from the growth. That is, let me tell you the function first. Mammary gland development. This takes place only in females. Only in females. So growth happens in both males and females, but mammary gland development takes place in only female. So hormones, let me list out. The first one is estrogen, Second one, B is progesterone, and C is prolactin, and D is oxytocin. What is the source of estrogen? Estrogen is coming from ovary, right? Progesterone is also coming from ovary, right? Prolactin is coming from pituitary of female, not male. Oxytocin is coming from hypothalamus hormone, but it is secreted by pituitary. It is present in both males and females. So their sources are different. And let me see the composition. Estrogen is a steroidal hormone, isn't it? Progesterone, steroidal hormone. Prolactin, protein hormone. Oxytocin, protein hormone, peptide hormone. So their sources are different, their composition is different. How does all these four are involved in the mammary gland function? Directly or indirectly? Let us see. Generally, one should understand about the mammary glands. Mammary glands is a property of mammals. No other animals other than mammary glands are absent. Maybe fishes, amphibians, reptiles, aves means birds. Till that there were no appearance, existence or development of mammary gland. In only mammals, mammary glands are present. Mammary gland is a modified sweat gland. So these mammary glands are present in both males and females, but development occurs only in females after puberty. Puberty means reproductive age. When they are attained, then only development takes place. Why in only females mammary glands will be developed? Because ovary is present in only females. As ovary is secreting estrogen and progesterone, after puberty their levels are increasing. Both are helping in the development of mammary glands. They are constructing the mammary glands, ducts and all, so that it will be developed. Size will be increased. And prolactin is a hormone which is coming from the pituitary, which is a peptide hormone. This prolactin helps in the production of milk and also in the development. So that hormone which helps in the production of milk in mammary gland is prolactin. It is also helps in the development of mammary. Prolactin releases after pregnancy. After childbirth, it will be functional. Clear? These two are functional after puberty, maturity after. Okay, but this is functional after pregnancy, after baby delivery also. Then oxytocin coming from hypothalamus, which helps in the ejection of milk. This is very important. Ejection of milk. And this one is production of milk. Hormone that helps in the production of milk is prolactin. Hormone that helps in the ejection of milk from the mammary gland, milk will be ejected into the baby's mouth because of a hormone called oxytocin. If oxytocin hormones levels are not good in the body of a woman who just delivered the baby, then the woman unable to produce the milk to the babies. So oxytocin levels are very important because they are milk ejecting hormone. Okay, which hormone is considered as milk ejecting hormone? Oxytocin. Which hormone is called milk producing hormone? Prolactin. Which hormone is meant for development of mammary glands? Estrogen and progesterone. But in the development, all four are involved. So, do you guess that is a synergetic property? Yes. All these four are different sources, different compositions, but all these four are meant for one organ development, one organ physiological development, functionally, structurally. So, this is another example. These two, the first one is somatotrophic hormone, insulin and thyroxine. All these three set meant for growth of the body. That happens in the both male and female. Second example I just produced is this one, a set of estrogen, progesterone, prolactin and oxytocin. All these four important for the development of mammary gland. So these two are enough to understand what exactly the synergetic hormones. Another hand, what is that? Antagonistic hormones. Let me tell you with the suitable examples now. Antagonistic hormones. Let us see. Antagonistic hormones means what? One hormonal action opposite to another hormonal action. So here in the first case, I am going to take insulin and glucagon. Insulin and glucagon. What is the function of insulin? Insulin is produced from beta cells of the pancreas, and glucagon is produced from alpha cells of the pancreas. Source is same here. Insulin and glucagon both are coming from same source, that is the pancreas. Islets of Langerhans is the part of pancreas. But insulin helps in the formation of glycogen in the liver. Glycogen in the liver. Whereas glucagon helps in the breaking of glycogen. Understand? Which hormone helps in the formation of glycogen? Insulin. Formation means what? It creates the glycogen. It breaks the glycogen. That's why these two are called antagonistic hormones. Let me explain you in depth. Okay? When in the blood glucose levels are increasing and their levels just exceed more than the normal, then suppose in blood then 10 glucose molecules should be present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But again another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 are extra, na? So these 5 will be picked up by insulin and till liver they go, and in the liver all these 5 will form as called glycogen. Very important thing here I am going to tell you. Hormone that helps to formation of glycogen is insulin. That's why insulin is called glycogenic hormone. Glycogen is producing. Genic means what? Synthesizing. The hormone helps in the formation of glycogen. That's why insulin is called glycogenic hormone. So that is why energy will be stored. So glycogen is also called animal starch. Animal starch. At the time of biomolecules, I told you this. Right? So this is the function of insulin. What is the function of glucagon? Should be opposite now. Whenever in the blood glucose levels are falling, nothing but 10 should be present, right? So okay, already picked up and formed as a glycogen. That function has been done. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 should be present as a normal level. But instead of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are there. Then how many molecules required to be equal, to make equal? 4. So that from the glycogen will be break. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. How many required? Then that number of molecules can be reached to the blood and maintain its enough value, sufficient value. So to make glucose means from the glycogen what is forming? Glucose. Who converts the glycogen into glucose? Glycogen into glucose by glucagon. So if glucagon enters in the blood, what will happen? They goes to liver and break the glycogen and release glucose into the blood. That's why they are called glucogenic hormone. Glucogenic hormone. Who is glucogenic hormone? Glucagon. Who is glycogenic hormone? Insulin. Clear? No confused, right? Glucogenic. Why the term glucogenic I have given here? Because glucose is produced. Glucose is produced due to the breaking of glycogen, right? I repeat. Glucagon is glucogenic hormone, no doubt in that. Glucagon is also called glycolytic hormone. Glycolytic hormone. Why? Glucose will be formed by the breaking of glycogen. Until glycogen cuts, glucose will not be released. So, glucose releasing is also called glycogen breaking. That's why glucagon helps in the breaking of glycogen. It is called glycolytic. Lytic means dividing, breaking, like that. So, glycolytic hormone, glucagon. Glucogenic hormone, glucagon. But glycogenic hormone means insulin. No need to confuse here. Terminology plays a very important role. Understand the terms here. Genic means production. Lytic means breaking. Here glycogen is breaking because of this. Here glycogen is producing because of this. Glycogenolytic hormone, glucagon. Glycogenic hormone, insulin. And glucogenic hormone, glucagon. So whatever, understand why it is antagonistic series. One hormone function is opposite. It produces glycogen and they break glycogen. Simply. Okay, insulin is involved in synergetic actions as well as antagonistic actions is one markable point here. Do you want another example for antagonistic hormone? Come. Second example for the antagonistic series of hormones is calcitonin and PTH. PTH means parathalmone hormone. Parathalmone hormone. P para T parathalmone and H hormone. Parathalmone hormone. From where it is coming? Means parathyroid gland. From parathyroid gland, PTH is coming. Where does the calcitonin is producing? From thyroid gland. From thyroid gland. Calcitonin, PTH, both are from different source. Just before I explain, insulin, glucagon, both are from same source, even though their actions are opposite. Here, glands are different, actions are also opposite. What does actually calcitonin do? Calcitonin do, it picks up calcium from blood to bone. Understand? Just like before I explain, number of glucose molecules in the blood excess, then the normal, then insulin will come and pick up the glucose molecules from the blood and place it in liver as a glycogen. Whenever calcium level in the blood decrease, then glucagon hormone will come from the pancreas and pick up glycogen and break the glycogen and release glucose into the blood. So, right? But here, when calcium levels increased in blood, that condition is called hypercalcemia. Hyper means extra, over percentage. Calcemia. So calcium in the blood is, its level is increased, is the meaning. That time calcitonin will come and pick up excess calcium level, not enter the calcium, excess calcium level, pick up it from the blood and place it in the bone. That is the function of calcitonin, nothing other than that. Then what will happen? In the bone, calcium will be increased. One day, if suddenly in the blood calcium levels are decreased, why? What is the reason? The calcium levels are decreasing in the blood means maybe calcium oriented food is not supplying to the body. Green leaves, milk, egg. This is the things where calcium sufficiently available. If we are not producing that in diet to our body, obviously in the blood calcium level will be decreased. That time, before this hormone helps in the storage of excess glucose now, that is coming from blood because of the parathalmone action. Calcitonin helps to place the calcium from blood to bone, whereas parathalmone hormone places the calcium in the blood by picking from the bone. Understand? So, who places the calcium from blood to bone? calcitonin. Okay, calcitonin is also called TCT. Remember, very important. Thyrocalcitonin, as it is producing from thyroid gland, this is called TCT. What is the function of TCT? TCT picks up calcium from the blood, placed in bone. Then opposite function from bone to blood. Who do that? PTH. PTH means parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone picks up calcium from bone, placed in blood. So who is maintaining calcium level in the blood? Means parathyroid hormone. Who is maintaining the calcium level in the bone? Means calcium. Understand? So thyrocalcitonin is opposite to parathyroid hormone. That's why this sequence is example for antagonistic. Right? Like that, another example is also there. MSH is opposite to melatonin. Melatonin, not melanin. Melanin is a protein that helps for our skin pigmentation, right? Okay, but here melatonin is a hormone secreting from pineal gland. Melatonin is coming from pineal gland. MSH is coming from intermediate pituitary. Intermediate pituitary. It is coming from. It is also protein hormone. So these two are different sources coming from, but also their function is also different. Suppose MSH helps in the what is called that induces the sleep in organisms, and opposite melatonin is avoiding the sleep of organism. And the melatonin provide the brightness in the skin color of the frogs, as well as it is opposite. What about the antagonistic hormones? From the antagonistic hormones, three examples I provided. Number one is insulin and glucagon. Number two is TCT and PTH, nothing but thyrocalcitonin and parathyroid hormone, simply called calcitonin and parathyroid hormone. And another example, that is MSH and melatonin hormone. I hope you understand the various criteria of the hormonal functions. That is why in each and every class I explained one criteria. Guys, you just imagine if all the three criteria, nothing but composition of hormones, solubility of hormones, and actions against to their co-op and opposite actions explained in only one video, definitely you will be confused and you put your answers very wrong place. Then this sessions will be waste. That's why slowly we are gathering the basic concepts. You enjoy the topic first, then only you can remember the particular thing long lastly. Until you enjoy the class, nothing will be inculcated permanently. I hope you enjoy my all classes. Okay, wish you all the best. Attend assignment.